This is the Dream Chaser Show. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the show. My name's Eric, and today I'm going to be talking to you about something that's near and dear to my heart. It's that pesky inner voice inside of our heads. It's that voice that oftentimes replays past events where we failed or looked stupid, and it starts to trickle into our everyday lives where we're like, oh, you can't do that, or you can't do this, or that person's doing better than me here. And we start to compare ourselves to others. And I'm here to tell you right now, if we don't fix that, that is going to absolutely stop us from achieving so many things in our lives. It's going to hold us back. It holds a lot of people back. In fact, a lot of people make it to the end of their lives never overcoming and never conquering that self-doubting talk. So let's dive in. I'm going to give you key strategies and things that you can start using today. But quick disclaimer, none of this is going to be a quick fix, right? I'm not a big believer in these get-rich-quick schemes. A lot of times those get-rich-quick type of mentalities, those get something for nothing, easy, that you take the easy street and the easy path, that's not going to help us, and it's not going to lead to long-term success. So like I said, we're going to talk about some foundational principles that you can incorporate into your life that are going to help you long term. That's what we want. We want to build our house on solid foundation with solid, sturdy walls, not on quicksand and with crappy contractors, because we know what happens then. It starts to settle and the walls start to separate. We don't want that. So let's dive in. The first thing I want everybody to understand is that we all have an inner critic, some sort of self-doubting talk that we spend a lot of our times repeating in our heads. And we got to defeat that. I'll tell you, growing up, I had so much of this in my life. I was a smaller guy. And so when I'd go play sports like hockey and football, I got destroyed by a lot of times by these bigger dudes. And I would look at them and be like, oh, I'm not that strong. And I'm not as good as that person. And a lot of times that would bleed into my other hobbies or activities, right? If I was trying to get good at playing an instrument or get good at skateboarding or drawing, all these things I've kind of dabbled in, but I would look to these other people that are doing a lot better than me. And I would say, oh, I don't have that skill set. I'm just going to stop. I better just give up. And I can tell you with some pretty solemn regrets that there's a lot of things that I just gave up on because I had that self-doubting talk. But I've been working on it, and I want to help other people work on it because I don't want you to give up on something, especially if it's a big dream or a big vision that you have. I don't want you to give up on it. And maybe you don't have that big goal or vision inside your head. We're going to talk about that today too. All right? So that's the first thing, understanding everybody has it. Looking people in the face in a crowd and knowing that each person we're seeing, even if they're millionaires or they have this big fancy house or they look like they got everything put together, even they have some self-doubting talk, but they've probably gotten better at getting over it. Step 2, you need to develop a major aim or purpose. Arnold Schwarzenegger said it best, in my opinion, when he talked about not having a purpose or a goal is like having a ship that doesn't have a map or a captain and destination, right? It'll just go out to sea, and if it makes it out of the port at all, it probably won't. It'll crash into something, another boat or the buoys or the rocks. But if it makes it out to sea, it's just going to float around with the waves until eventually it crashes into something else. And a lot of times our lives are like that. I think most of us will start out with a goal or a purpose or some sort of aim that we're trying to attain. And then as life comes along, the mundane, the day-to-day grind, the waking up, the doing the same thing every day, that starts to kind of take over our ship. And next thing you know, we're way off course, or we become completely complacent and we're no longer making progress towards that goal. So develop a major purpose. And if you're not really sure what your major purpose is, or maybe you're kind of in a slump and you're just like, I don't know what my life is all about and what I'm trying to do, where I'm going. One thing that I found that worked for me is, one, you gotta get out there and into some quiet. There's so much noise around us constantly with our phones going off, text messages, phone calls, emails. Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, all of this stuff. We don't allow ourselves to get bored. As soon as we start getting bored, we reach for our phones and start scrolling, or we play a video game, or we turn on the TV and start watching YouTube. We don't allow ourselves to get bored and really start to work inside of ourselves. So we need some time to get away from that. Set aside some time in your day, even if it's just 10 minutes, to go out on a walk, or maybe sit silently and start to just meditate and think about, where am I going? Where am I at right now? And how am I doing? And you'll start to hear this inner voice. It's that conscience that's speaking to you, right? It's the back of our mind. It starts to tell us things. But we don't hear that if we're constantly bombarded with sounds and other stimuli. If you're a person of faith, it's that Holy Spirit inside of you. We don't hear that Holy Spirit when we're constantly being bombarded by other messages from other people. Each and every person listening has that inner voice within them. And you got to start listening to it. So go out on a walk, take some quiet time, and figure out what it is that you want. If you start feeling something inside of you pulling you in a direction, that's likely a good place to start. And I'll tell you this too, if you have some fear and doubt and I'm not sure how I'm going to attain that and it's scary, that's probably even a better indicator that you're on the right path. Because a lot of times our major purpose in life, a big part of it anyway, is wrapped in fear. It's wrapped in, I don't know how I'm going to do that. Taking that leap of faith, I don't know how I'm going to do that. But it's called faith for a reason, because we can't see what's on the other side. You can't see the corners in the road, but if you just take it one step at a time and keep driving, the corner around the road will reveal itself. You don't have to have all the answers up front. All right. So that's one of the steps. The next thing is to, and this is crucial, by the way, write it down on paper. Write down that major goal or purpose that you have and put it to paper somewhere where you're going to be able to see it every day and remind yourself. Because again, the mundane grind is going to start to wear you down. It's going to start wearing you down and you're going to forget why you started. Right? For example, doing this show and doing these episodes to help other people, I have had this happen to me so many times where I'm like, oh, I should do a talk on that. I should do an episode on that. And then I start to have some of these self-doubts, like, people have heard that, or other people have said that already. And who's that going to help? And then I don't do it. And you know what? I got to tell you, sometimes it haunts me because I can't help but wonder, what if there was somebody out there who needed to hear that? What if there was somebody, even one person, that you could have changed and turned their life around, or you could have helped pick them up from the lowest part of their life? And that helps keep me going. So I've taken this upon myself. I've written it down, what I want to do with this speaking thing and doing this show. Write it down on paper. Put it somewhere you're going to see it. It could be in the mirror in your bathroom, or maybe it's right above your bed. That's where I have mine. So I see it every night before I go to bed. I meditate and pray on it, and then I wake up in the morning and I do the same thing. And what we're trying to do is pound that into our subconscious. I would urge you to, when you write it down, write it in such a way that you already have it. You're already in possession of it. Okay? And start to visualize it. And what you're trying to do is pound into your subconscious, that part of your brain that will feed you ideas and the means of how to get it. Your subconscious gives you ideas. It will lay out blueprints as you go. And that's what's so beautiful about not knowing how to get there, but just trusting the process and having faith that it will come to you. I can tell you that anybody that started something, anybody big, maybe that you follow or that you admire, that has a big company or Amazon or whatever, they didn't have all the answers when they started. They just started. They made a decision to start. And it became this burning desire, this obsession to attain it. And as that burning and desire and obsession becomes stronger and stronger and stronger, it will feed into your subconscious mind. And your subconscious mind will then begin to bring forward ideas and plans to make it a reality. So you want to see that every single day. Repeat that same statement in your head. I own this house. I own this house. I own this house. I have this amount of money in my bank account. I have this amount of money in my bank account. I have this amount of money in my bank account, right? Whatever it is that you want. I want to become an author. I am an author. I am an author, right? Again, doing in now terms. And you're starting to feed that subconscious part of your brain. And guess what's going to happen? You will start to get hunches and ideas to make it a reality. And here is the next crucial step. You need to act on those ideas immediately. Okay? Immediately. Because if you let it go, or you get a great hunch on something that can help you get there, if you let that go, it's going to disappear. I don't remember who said it, but I read it once in a book where it talked about opportunity is a lot like a butterfly that lands on your shoulder. You might not always know that it's there. That idea or that hunch that you get, it's going to land on your shoulder. It's going to be oh so soft. You might feel it inside and you might be like, oh my goodness, that's it. But if you don't act on it, it will just flutter away. Now, here's the thing. I've had this happen plenty of times to me where I didn't act on an idea or an opportunity or thought that I had a hunch. Don't let that beat you up. Don't let it discourage you. There will be another butterfly that will land on your shoulder, but learn from it. Learn to recognize those hunches when they show up. Learn to act on opportunities to make your dream and your vision a reality. You got to learn to find those butterflies. It will come. Okay. Next step is we need to set aside our fears and our doubts. This is huge. Like I said before, you won't always know the curve in the road. You're not going to always know the whole path to get to where you want to go. Just know that around that curve, there's more road. Yeah, it might be bumpy. Yeah, it might have construction. Yeah, it might be a narrow bridge. There might be animals in it. There might be a car wreck. There might be something. But guess what? You're going to find a way to keep on going. It's going to happen. You just have to have faith. Okay? And when we set aside those fears and doubts, this is one thing I've been working on doing is tricking my identity. Okay, so let's define quickly what our identity is. Our identity is wrapped up in the thoughts and the actions and habits that we have day to day. It's wrapped up in our thoughts, actions, and habits. So as you think a thought, that thought will manifest itself into some sort of action. And then as you repeat that action over and over and over again, it becomes a habit and eventually it becomes our lives. So if you don't believe me, look at the things that you eat, right? A lot of times we have habitual eating habits and we eat the same thing generally. Of course, we go out to eat and it changes, but for the most part, we stick to the same menu, right? We like cheeseburgers, we like whatever it is. You've got that thing that you usually eat day to day. For a lot of us, our breakfast is the same thing. Look at your exercising habits. Do you exercise? Maybe you don't. If you do, what are you doing? Do you lift weights? Do you go on walks? Do you run? I hate running. But we have these habitual things that it's hard to break out of. And our thoughts and our actions are no different. So when I talk about tricking identity, if we want something we don't have, we need to be willing to do things we've never done. Okay, I'm going to say that again. If you want something you don't have, you need to be willing to do things you've never done. We got to do more things than we're currently doing because otherwise, if you keep doing the same thing, you're going to have the same results. What do they say? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result, right? Not going to happen. You've got to be willing to do something different if you want something different. So why do we do that? We trick our identity, like I said. We trick our identity. We start by doing small actions that are going to change us long term. So maybe that's waking up early. You start saying, hey, I'm an early riser. I can wake up early. Set your clock back and start to do it. Like I said, take action. that'll help you wake up earlier. You can start, maybe we start saying to ourselves, I'm a reader and not a TV watcher. I am going to start learning things from books instead of just wasting all my time watching TV. And so when we get home from work, instead of grabbing for the remote, have a book next to us, next to the table, and start reading. I want to take up this new hobby. Again, you got to start tricking your identity into thinking that that's who you are. It sounds a little crazy, but it's bite-sized pieces. If you want to become a drawer, the best thing to do is start drawing, right? If you want to do this, the best thing to do is just start doing it. Now, excuse me, I got to slow down because I'm getting real into this. The last thing that I really want you to grab a hold of before we get out of here is to start where you stand. Start right now with the tools that you have. I know far too often we tend to say, oh, I'm going to start doing that thing that I want later when I'm ready, when I have more tools in my possession, when I have more money, when I have more time, when the kids are gone, when blah, 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 blah. The thing is time is limited. A lot of you have heard me say that in the past. Time's limited. We don't have an infinite amount of it. Some of you know somebody who's passed away very quickly or very early in their life, and it's a sad thing. It's never fun to go through that. And I don't want that for you. I don't want that for anybody listening where they haven't been able to accomplish the things they wanted to accomplish because life ended early for them. Time is very limited. So start where you stand today. Start with the tools that you have. And lo and behold, you'll find out that more tools will be given to you as you go. A sculptor making a piece of sculpture, he might only have a hammer and a chisel, and maybe not the best hammer and chisel. But then he starts working on his craft. He starts sculpting these beautiful pieces of art, and they get better and better. And then he can start selling them and improve his tools. And now his tools are better. Maybe he's got automated piece of machinery that can all of a sudden do quite a bit of the work for him. And then his craft gets better and better. It's no different than in your life. Tools will show up along the way, but you'll never get to those tools in that place unless you start now with the tools that you have. And remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. It does not have to be perfect. You will develop your craft along the way. Start where you stand right now. Take action immediately with the tools you have and develop your craft as you go. My prayer for everybody listening is that you find that thing, that meaningful thing that you really want to do, and start to overcome the inner dialect that's holding you back. Because most of the time, it's not other people critiquing you. We tend to tell ourselves that. Other people are judging me. Other people are looking at me. Here's the deal. They're all busy thinking the same thing. They're all busy with their own lives, and they're probably thinking the same thing. Most of the time, the critics out there are inside of our own heads. So I want to help everybody get over that. I want to help you move forward. I want to help you start progressing in your life and trying to attain the things that you want to attain, accomplish them, make them a reality, and start where you stand with the tools that you have at your current disposal. Have faith that it's going to come, and listen to those inner gut feelings, those hunches and subconscious ideas. Listen to the little butterfly that lands on your shoulder and take that opportunity. Act on it. If this message helped you at all, please share it with your friends and family. You guys take care, and we'll see you next time.